Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Just want to remind y'all real fucking quick before we get started with the actual video that the Metal Meltdown is streaming today, tonight, May 30th, Memorial Day, at approximately 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By popular demand, we will be streaming the third and final installment of our Heavy Metal Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Tournament. We're gonna drink, shoot the shit, sing songs, tell stupid, edgy jokes, and watch Mii Fighter versions of heavy metal icons beat the absolute fucking crap out of each other. So tune in today, once again, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a holiday weekend for y'all Americans, and I know for a fact, if you're here right now, then you're probably not doing anything else. You're not spending the day with your family, you're probably not going to work, so fuck it, just tune into the stream and fucking party. Anyways, on to the main subject of this video, American melodic death metal band, the Black Dahlia Murder. I know I had talked about doing a reviewing every Nine Inch Nails album video, and I may still do that at some point, but I kind of also decided that this might be a little more important for a slew of reasons. For those of you somehow unaware, Trevor Strnad unfortunately passed away a couple of weeks ago. He took his own life quite tragically, and I thought this would be a great opportunity not just to reflect on a great discography, but also to talk about a great man who did great things. Trevor was a champion of extreme music. He was actually a pretty important figure in really helping me redesign, reboot the Metal Meltdown, whatever word you want to use. Like, he was one of the first special guests I had on this channel. He was one of the first people I interviewed on this channel. He got me in touch with a lot of, like, really cool label and PR people. We hung out a couple of times when he came to Toronto. We had planned to hang out when he came to Toronto on tour with Carnifex and Rivers of Nile last September. Unfortunately, that particular show of that tour got canceled, but c'est la vie. So yeah, I was shocked and hurt, especially because on top of all that, the Black Dahlia Murder were kind of a gateway band for me. Like, I remember when Ever Black came out, because I remember buying that on CD, and I've since bought almost every other Black Dahlia Murder album on vinyl or CD. Like, they're just a great fucking band. So in honor of this great band and this great man, we're going to review every single studio album from the Black Dahlia Murder. With that in mind, I would like to add that this video is dedicated to Trevor, and to his friends, and to his family, and to his bandmates in the Black Dahlia Murder. And I also want to say, you know, to people who are having dangerous, intrusive, harmful thoughts right now because of what's happened with Trevor, or maybe just, you know, in general, maybe your life feels like it's falling apart right now. It's not, buddy. Hang in there. You got this. I know it feels like you're alone right now. I promise you, you're not. And you deserve to live a long, happy, healthy life. That's what Trevor would want, at least. So, cheers to Trevor. Cheers to you. And, let's do this. Let's talk about every single album from the Black Dahlia Murder. First up, we have Unhollowed, released June 17th, 2003, via Metal Blade Records. If I'm not mistaken, all of the Black Dahlia Murder's records are on Metal Blade. I guess I'm about to find out as I talk more and more about these records. This would be the band's official debut studio album, and it's all right. It's solid. It's pretty decently okay. Look, I don't really have anything that negative or scathing to say about it before y'all get your fucking knickers in a twist, like, this video is dedicated to Trevor, how could you shit on one of his albums right away? I think it's a perfectly fine, like, gateway death metal, melodic death metal record. I just don't really find myself loving this because so much of what the Black Dahlia Murder would go on to do is just so much fucking better than this. Like, I'm sorry, but production-wise, music-wise, even Trevor as a vocalist, as a writer, It's just not on the same level that we would come to expect from records like Ritual, Ever Black, Nightbringers, even the most recent album, Verminous, and even something that would follow this, like Defluorate or Nocturnal. Like, the Black Dahlia Murder that I know and love, there are bits and pieces of that band here, but the whole band is you know, it's just not there. Trevor's vocals on this record in particular just lack the strength and character that I really have come to expect. There are still some solid fucking cuts, like Funeral Thirst, The Blackest Incarnation, Elder Misanthropy. Those are legit really good fucking songs. Like, if you love classic Swedish death metal and classic American death metal, and you want to see them just thrown in a fucking blender, boom, you'll still have plenty of fun with this record. But myself, I just don't really get a lot out of this that I'm not hearing done way, way, way better on other Black Dahlia Murder records. So I'm going to go with a 2.5 out of 5, a kind of enthusiastic one, I guess. I mean, once again, if you just want riffs and beats, there are plenty of those for Dave's, but, you know, yeah, that's it. Yeah, don't worry, folks. I'm pretty sure that's the lowest score I'll give to any Black Dahlia Murder record because, my God, this band gets so fucking good so fucking quickly. Take, for instance, on Miasma, released June 12th, 2005, once again via Metal Blade. Yeah, now I'm pretty certain that they're all released on Metal Blade. That's pretty fucking cool. In many ways, this is very similar to Unhallowed, but I think Trevor is becoming more confident as a singer and as a songwriter on here. The lineup is gelling a little better. There have been some changes. There's changes on almost all of these albums. I'd be here forever documenting every single lineup change, but this definitely feels like a more unified and a more mature and a more excited Black Dahlia Murder in comparison to that first record, you know? Some of Trevor's more tongue-in-cheek, satirical lyrics and vibes are coming into play here. Like on I'm Charming, Dave Goes to Hollywood, the truly iconic Statutory Ape, which years later remains one of my favorite Black Dahlia Murder songs. The production is also a little better, there's a little bit more money being put into this thing, solos and riffs are tighter, they're more fluid, they're more explosive. I feel like this is just a better, polished version of Unhallowed. It's Unhallowed, but better executed. For this record, I'm feeling a very enthusiastic 3 out of 5. We still haven't reached the best Black Dahlia Murder stuff, but we're getting there. We're very, very fucking close. And speak of the fucking devil, whoo boy, Nocturnal, November 18th, 2007, Metal Blade again. This is more like it. This is my Black Dahlia Murder. Fuck yeah. Everything I love about this band is really starting to pop up on this record. They're darker, they're crazier, they're heavier, they're more brutal, they're pulling even more influence from melodic death metal, from classic American death metal. You know, it's like equal parts Early Inflamed with some At the Gates and some Arch Enemy and a little bit of Cannibal Corpse, Obituary. It's gross, it's gnarly, it's in your face, it's kind of spooky in some parts. Those tongue-in-cheek, campy, kind of satirical lyrics are still coming into play, which gives this some levity, some fresh air, some breathing room. I mean, tons of iconic cuts on here. What a Terrible Night to Have a Curse remains one of Black Dahlia Murder's best fucking songs. It's also still one of the most popular songs. Like, on Spotify right now, this is their #1 most popular song. And not far behind that are other great tracks like Everything Went Black, Death Mask Divine, and of course there's also classic shit like I Worship Only What You Need and Warborn. It's just a really, really, really fucking strong record. Like, from start to finish, I'm thoroughly enjoying this thing. In this instance, I'm feeling a very, very, very enthusiastic 3.5 out of 5. We are so dangerously close to a 4 out of 5. The only reason I'm not giving this a 4 out of 5 is ultimately because there are albums after this that I just enjoy way more. And quite frankly, beyond this point, Black Dahlia Murder are so fucking consistent that I could give most of these records a 4 out of 5 or a 4.5 out of 5. So, for the sake of keeping things semi-varied, I guess I have to kind of give this a 3.5 out of 5 by default. Next up, we have Defluorate, released September 15th, 2009 via Metal Blade Records. I think in some aspects this album is a little bit more technical, a little bit more ambitious than Nocturnal songwriting-wise. Thank you, Ryan Knight, for that. But for the most part, I feel like you can copy and paste a lot of what I said about Nocturnal and apply it to here. Tons of ripping, crushing riffs and pummeling percussion and gnarly fucking vocals and lyrics from Trevor. He's just constantly getting more and more confident with every single record. The Black Dahlia Murder is getting tighter and tighter, more expansive, more brutal, more melodic, more everything. I don't think this is as memorable as Nocturnal. Like, I think that record is just a lot catchier and a lot more potent and impactful. But I mean, I still think this is kind of on the same level because musically, this is a bigger, bolder record. So much like Nocturnal, I'm going to go with a very, very enthusiastic 3.5 out of 5. Next up, we have Ritual, released June 21st, 2011. Once again, Metal Blade, and this is kind of the point in history where everyone starts to really pay attention to the Black Dahlia Murder, and there's one very simple reason for that. This is everything that all of the other records were doing, but done so fucking well that it was simply impossible to ignore. Up to this point, this is the Black Dahlia Murder's most cohesive record, their most exciting record, their most dynamic and varied record, their most technical, their most melodic, their most brutal, their most infectious, and as a result of all of that, their most memorable. Like, this is one of the few records in this video that I didn't even have to revisit to, like, really remember and get a really good grasp of. Like, I really still love this record and remember so much of it. Moonlight Equilibrium and On Stirring Seas of Salted Blood remain two of my favorite Black Dahlia Murder songs ever. The latter has maybe one of the best titles I've ever heard in any song ever. I love how the record has a ritualistic aesthetic and concept album type flow to it. Like, it constantly feels as if we are in the midst of some horrifying ritual. Ryan Knight and Brian Eschbach are just totally in fucking sync here. There's not a single bit of filler or fat to trim. Everyone's just on fucking point and they consistently fucking deliver. It's really just like this non-stop death metal fireworks show. There's so much pretty shit to look at, and it's loud and dangerous, and it's like, whoa, holy fuck, look at that. Solid 4.5 out of 5 for me. This is one of my favorite records from the Black Dahlia Murder. I think it's their first that I bought on vinyl. Like, Ever Black is the first one I bought in any capacity, but this is the first one I bought on vinyl, and it still sounds amazing after all these years. I still play it regularly, well, regularly-ish. It's just fucking amazing. I would even argue maybe one of the best death metal albums of the 2010s. So, yeah, if you have to listen to only one record in this band's discography, please make it this record. It's just so fucking good. Next up, we have Ever Black, released June 11th, 2013, Metal Blade. Again, as I've said a couple of times, this was my introduction to the Black Dahlia Murder. This was one of the first albums I bought from them on CD in any fucking capacity. I remember finally buying it on vinyl a couple of years ago and just being absolutely fucking elated. I really loved it when I heard it the first time. I do think the album has lost a little bit of its luster with age. It's not as powerful as something like Ritual. The record doesn't feel as cohesive because there's been some lineup changes, some pretty significant ones, like Shannon Lucas, who's been performing with the band on like their last 3 records, is gone. And there's some other behind-the-scenes things going on. It's still a great record, don't get me wrong. Still tons of great shit, just not quite on the level of Ritual. And arguably a bit of a step down in comparison to Ritual. But, again, still plenty of great shit. Years later, the title track remains lodged in my fucking memory like a crown in Homer Simpson's brain. I love that immolation type assault of riffery in the very beginning with those brooding riffs and those melodic guitar hooks. Goat of Departure, In Hell Is Where She Waits For Me. Raped in Hatred by Vines of Thorn, I always loved because I'm an Evil Dead fanboy. And Trevor just lets his love for Evil Dead just fucking go apeshit here and just go nuts. Map of Scars is another favorite of mine, same with Phantom Limb Masturbation. Again, not quite on the same level as Ritual, but still, in its own right, a great fucking record. So, 4 out of 5 from me. It's a great fucking record. What more do you need to know? Next up, we have Abysmal, released September 18th, 2015, Metal Blade. Again. Holy fucking shit. What a fucking awesome record. Holy fucking shit. This feels like this is what should have followed Ritual. I mean, this does a lot of what Ritual does, but it feels way more hellish, way more apocalyptic, way more bloodthirsty. I think in a lot of ways, this is the band's most violent record. Nightbringers is a close second. That record sounds like it was made by a bunch of death metal loving vampires. This record, on the other hand, literally sounds like it was made by demons from hell. Like the type of like horrifying, muscular, crazed demons you would find in something like Doom or Doom Eternal, by the way. Like, we're not talking about no like little imp-looking motherfuckers in red pajamas with pitchforks. I mean, if you don't believe me, just look at that album artwork alone. That is objectively one of the most brutal pieces of artwork I've seen from like a more mainstream, well-known death metal band ever. That is insane. It literally looks like something that was painted in hell. It is not a painting of hell. It is a painting that was made in hell and was therefore inspired by hell. It has hell emanating out of every little corner. As do songs like the title track, Vlad, Son of the Dragon, which still has some of the gnarliest, crunchiest fucking riffs and solos that Black Dahlia Murder have ever fucking constructed. That Which Cannot Die is Eternally Dead, the album's explosive closing number. Stygiophobic, threat level number 3, The Fog, like so much gnarly fucking shit. It's almost as if Black Dahlia Murder thought they were going to like break up or that they'd have to disappear for a while, because they just put 110% into this record. Like, all of them go fucking off. At the very least, Ryan Knight must have known that he would be done soon, because he just goes apeshit. This would end up being his final album with the band, and it's also arguably his best, which is a bold statement, because I'm sure, as you've realized by now, he made a lot of gnarly stuff with the Black Dahlia Murder, and he continues to make gnarly stuff with other bands and as a solo artist, by the way. Like, dude's a legitimately super talented songwriter and guitarist. Production-wise, it's the band's most impressive record yet. It's so big, it's so bold, it's so dynamic. I love this record. I love it almost as much as Ritual. I like Ritual just a little bit more. Might be a bit of a nostalgia factor, if we're being honest, but c'est la vie. This does still get like a 4.5 out of 5. I fucking love this record. It's fucking insane. Next up, we have Nightbringers, released October 6th, 2017, Metal Blade Records. I remember people being a little bit more lukewarm towards this record when it came out, which I thought was really disappointing, because this is another record that I just straight up fucking love. This was actually one of my favorite records of 2017 in the very early days of the Metal Meltdown, when the Metal Meltdown was just doing stupid fucking nonsense, back when Robert was a fat little drunken shit. Not now. Now I'm a skinny little drunken shit. Worth noting as well, something I just learned, this would end up becoming the best-selling direct-to-consumer pre-order in Metal Blade Records history. Holy fucking shit. So the hype was clearly fucking real, even if the reaction afterwards was somewhat mixed. Lukewarm, as I put it. Like I said, I personally love this thing. I mean, Widowmaker, Of God and Serpent, of Spectre and Stake, the title track Nightbringers, Catacomb, Hecatomb, As Good as Dead, so much gnarly shit here. I feel like I've said gnarly so many fucking times in this review. Holy shit. It's just fantastic, man. It's not as grand as something like Abysmal. I'm noticing that's a pattern with the Black Dahlia Murder, is they'll release like something super crazy like Nocturnal, and then something good but not as good like Defluorate, and then another crazy record like Ritual, and then something good but not as good like Everblack, and now Abysmal and Nightbringers. It's a weird little trend they have. This is definitely the point where the Black Dahlia Murder get very comfortable in a rut, shall we say. They kind of stop expanding musically, aesthetically, conceptually, even production-wise. This feels very similar to some other records. But we've officially reached the point in the Black Dahlia Murder discography where I just don't fucking care, man. They've been so consistently good at writing music and performing music and just making great, heavy, stupid shit that I'm just totally in love with everything that's happening. Even if, again, it's not on the same level as other records. Even if there are slight deviations in the exact output each time. This would be the band's first album of Brandon Ellis, who is probably best known for his work with Guar and Cannabis Corpse. I think he was also in Arsis for a bit. He gets along really well with Brian Eschbach, as far as I can tell musically. I don't know on a personal level. The rest of the band stays the same, which is kind of a first for the Black Dahlia Murder. I like that. You know, it feels like we're once again starting to get a really solid foundation for this band. It's tight, it's cohesive. I really like this album, even if, again, it's not on par with other records. It's closer to Everblack in that regard, which I gave a 4 out of 5, so I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5 as well. And finally, this brings us to Verminous, the band's most recent studio album, and what will very likely be their final as well, or at the very least, their final with Trevor. That is, of course, unless Trevor, Freddie Mercury style, recorded a bunch of stuff before he passed, but I find that slightly unlikely, so yeah. Verminous, released April 17th, 2020, Metal Blade Records. Another solid fucking record, man. This I have a unique relationship with because this was released around the time where I was really starting to get my shit together on the Metal Meltdown, where I decided that I did want to really create something here and not just be a stupid little edgy fucking asshole. And like I said earlier in the review, Trevor was instrumental in helping me get there. Like, again, I interviewed him around the time this album came out. We talked about this album. I pre-ordered the album shortly after we did our interview, too. And as a result, you know, this was an album I reviewed on the Metal Meltdown. I remember being a decently popular-ish review, at least by the standards of the type of, I don't know, business we were doing at the time. I don't know if that's the proper word, but you get the idea. So yeah, I definitely think I've developed a much stronger bond with this record as time has gone on as a result of all of those things. But just looking at it as a standalone record, spoiler alert, it's still fucking good. It's still really, really, really fucking good. I think at the time I did criticize it for being repetitive, but as I've said multiple times in this video, I don't think I actually fucking care at this point. There is a little bit more of a concept to this record. It's not like a consistently flowing narrative per se, but there is this kind of idea about rats being these like weird, beautiful, creative creatures despite being like, you know, viewed as being diseased and evil and ugly, and the Verminous will rise above everything and they will conquer and they will take the world. They should not be underestimated. There's something slightly poignant about that, as this album was released in some, you know, pretty dystopian and bizarre times. A literal plague was beginning to ravage the United States, North America, and the rest of the world. So as a result, I think this unintentionally felt really powerful. It also helps that there are just tons of really great fucking tunes on here. I mean, Verminous, Child of Night, Sunless Empire, The Leather Butcher's Apron. Brandon Ellis just kind of lets his freak flag fly on this motherfucking thing. I think at the time, like I said before, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. I would feel comfortable giving this a 4 out of 5 at this point. I've actually probably revisited this more so than some other records that we've talked about. I don't enjoy this on the same level as Abysmal and Ritual, but I do think in some aspects it's smarter, it's more ambitious, it's bigger in size and scale and production, and I just, you know, really love it for all of those reasons, and also the fact that it's just a really fucking good record with good music! Trevor sounds great, his lyrics are great, vocally this is his most impressive record as well. It's just fucking fantastic, man. I think I've said all I need to say about their discography running through all of these records, so let me know what you think! What's your favorite Black Dahlia Murder record? What's your least favorite Black Dahlia Murder record? Are you upset that I didn't give every single album a 5 out of 5? You probably are, because most people usually are when I do these videos. Once again, rest in peace, Trevor. I hope wherever you are, you have found some peace. I hope you're playing video games and drinking beer and just having a fucking blast, hanging out with your rock and heavy metal heroes and icons and gods. To the rest of you, once again, have a great fucking day, you know? Just have a great day. Have a great Memorial Day. Even if you don't tune into the stream, but please do so. And also, subscribe. Do that, because you get updates on this channel. Yeah. Have a fantastic fucking day. Hell yeah. Cheers.